It's Tuesday, March 29th, 2016. I'm Rim.
I'm Scott.
And this is Geek Nights. Tonight, 6 nimmt.
Let's do this.
So, as you all know, we were at Anime Boston. Those of you might have found us because of Anime Boston. Hey, this is Geek Nights Tuesday. We're going to talk about games and stuff, not so much the anime. But on the way home, Scott and I were bored. You know, it was going to be a long bus ride, and we didn't even go to the con on Sunday. So we sit down, and I ask the question I always ask whenever me and Scott are alone together.
You want to play Advance Wars?
It's either you want to play Advance Wars or you want to play Civ 5. And for the first time in my life, that clock rang, and Scott said, you know what? Yeah. And we played
I figured it would make the bus ride go much faster.
And it did, actually. We played Civ 5 Hot Seat, which I've never done for
We should have done with 2 laptops and played 2 games.
Yeah, that would have been perfect, except I'm the only one of us who had a laptop that could play Civ 5.
Why don't they make... My iPad Pro is better than your laptop. Why don't they make Civ 5 for it?
I don't know. That's actually the only reason I'm leery of the iPad is as much as I want one, I like to play games like Rocket League and Civ 5 on my laptop when I travel.
You can just play different games.
Like what? What game is as good as Civ 5 or Rocket League or Counter-Strike that you can play on the iPad?
Hearthstone.
Yeah, Hearthstone's pretty
Hearthstone
good.
is the best iPad game you can play.
Yeah, yeah.
That's the reason. That's the only reason I play it. If it were there was, right? It's like it's literally the best mobile game that exists.
But when I'm in like Hong Kong or something for a week and I got, you know,
There's mad Hearthstone going on there. Whoa.
Yeah, but I would rather be playing Rocket League.
Well, why don't you just go to like a net cafe?
I guess I could.
And you'd get your ass crushed by some Chinese Rocket League.
So I had also never tried the like tiny map format. So we just played a duel. It was just me and Scott on continents. So we each had a tiny continent. And there's 4 city-states out there. And we just started going. And at the end of the bus ride, when we got to New York, we'd made it about 100 turns in, and we were just getting to the point where things were getting real interesting.
The main problem was just like, I think in the dual map, right, it's like things that normally can be mitigated. It's like the game is real different, right? Because you had the guys that have mad boats,
yep.
And the map was such that I was on an island and you were on an island. My starting city was not on the coast. Right.
Well, don't you know the automatic intrinsic start biases of all the different civilizations?
I didn't know that was what the map was going to look like.
I said continents were probably going to be on 2 different continents because there's only 2 of us.
Right, but I didn't realize that your guy was going to have like something that gives you a free 1,000,000 boats.
Yeah,
I figured, like, you know, I didn't, because I don't know all the stupid things in the game. There's so many fucking things. I didn't even know that was a thing until you used it.
Yeah, I realized that your only problem with Civ 5 is that you just haven't played it enough, so you don't know stuff. It's like, think about how much you know about Civ 2. Like, you probably remember what almost every wonder does to this day, even though they don't actually, like, they don't have analogs to modern wonders.
No, I didn't really know. I only knew.
You knew Leonardo's Workshop, I'll bet, and the pyramids.
I knew Leonardo's Workshop. And you know why I like Leonardo's Workshop?
Because you don't have to deal with the upgrades.
Also because it had the best music.
Yeah, it did.
And
everyone knew the pyramids because nobody wanted to build a stupid granary everywhere.
Yeah, it gives you a free granary everywhere.
Yep. Though I've noticed when I play, because I've been playing, you know, not to plug Giant Multiplayer Robot, but I actually paid money now so I can be in a lot more games. I use this thing a lot. And the way it actually works, it's $5. You just give them $5 and you can play up to 5 games instead of just 2 forever. Just $5 once. I think $15 is unlimited games forever. So I paid the $5 and I got 3 games going. And I did do my commentary on the big game, but playing the duel against Scott, one thing I realized is that if you have a small empire like that and you want to rush wonders and rush tradition, you can do like tradition, get some marble early, and just crank out
That's
wonders.
another thing I didn't realize is I had some marble right fucking there, and I didn't realize what it did until I finally got my worker to work it, and this message pops up, and I'm like, oh, that's what Rim's doing.
Yeah.
If I would have known that, I would have gotten a worker even earlier and worked it immediately.
Yeah.
I did, because I did get the tradition thing immediately, right? So
Yep.
I just didn't get the worker on it immediately. And because I didn't realize what, you know, I'm just like, oh, it's a, you know, when I see like rocks, I'm like, oh, mine the rocks, get production. All right, I want to get the food first. I'll go make a farm first. You know?
I think a lot about those things. Like you didn't even.
I don't know all those things. There's way too many fucking things.
They're not that many. I mean,
there's so many things in this game.
I feel like I know most of them.
You got culture things. You got sciences. You got buildings. You got wonders. You got units. You got fucking things that you can like get at the councils. It's like there's just so many goddamn things, and great people can do like 3 different things.
Yep.
I can't remember all these fucking things.
But Civ 2 had a similar level of bullshit.
I just didn't know the things when I played Civ 2. I just played. I never played Civ 2 multiplayer either. I played against the computer.
I always wanted to.
I never played against it, and I was never able to beat it on like any kind of hard level. I played it normal at the most. And I just sort of played like by feels, just sort of like, all right, build stuff.
Yep.
You know, there's a wonder I can build it in 7 turns. I'll build it. I don't know what it does. I'm just gonna build it. Just building stuff.
Yeah.
I didn't really even understand like the concepts that like, oh, you get food and then you get population. Like I didn't know that. I just like you just built stuff.
You're like, what are all those red guys? I guess I'll ignore them. Hey, why is that guy wearing black?
Like,
why did my city just revolt? What's
like
going on?
I would just go to cities and I would click produce this next. That looks fun, and then click next turn, and then move units around. You know.
Yeah.
I didn't really know what stuff did. It just like, oh, you know.
But I like Civ 5, and I played it a lot because, on long trips, like especially if I'm flying to like East Asia and I've got like a 12 or 13-hour flight, you can get most of the way through a single-player Civ 5 game in a flight like that. So I would just play like these long games, but pretty bored playing against the AI, and I'm kind of addicted to playing Civ against humans now.
I can't even beat the AI in anything like above Prince, and if I do Prince, I can only beat it sometimes.
Really?
And only using like the space shuttle. Like every time I try something different, it doesn't work.
So if I ever go for something different, I kind of accidentally get a domination victory along the way, so it doesn't matter.
That's the thing is I don't war. I basically expand with settlers to fill my space, and then I turtle. And then I just build stuff.
See, this is why I think this duel... So we played that game halfway, and we saved it on my laptop. We're going to wait till the bus to PAX and continue the game.
I think we should play a different game, one where you don't have the entire water covered in boats.
If you...
Well, I mean, what hope do I really have?
So, Scott, that water's covered in boats, but you realize it's just like 7 triremes. I can't take a city with that.
Yeah, but I can't move any boats around.
Well, you didn't focus on boats.
But how do I need to see the map still and go looking for stuff.
Yeah, there's one more island that neither one of us got to. You know what's on it? More barbarians than you can imagine. 1 city-state. 2 unexplored huts.
Right, but it's like, even if you take that island, it's like I can't expand my territories or do anything.
Scott,
because
there's nothing else in the whole world. Unless you conquer something, there's literally nowhere else to settle.
I still need to see what else is in the world.
Why?
There's some natural wonders out there.
I think there's only 2 natural wonders.
I haven't seen any of them.
Really? There's one on my continent.
Yeah, I don't know what they look like, and then my people would be very happy to see them.
So here's another thing, because I've noticed this. In these games, there are 3 kinds of civilizations.
And I can see what your territory looks like and keep an eye on you.
You can't just build 1 trireme unless you literally only have that trireme to keep barbarians from taking like your 1 or 2 workboats that are hanging out there. You either build a fuck ton of boats or you just don't build boats.
See, but that's the thing is my starting city was not on the water.
Then you got to be a land civilization.
Okay, so now I'm trapped in this little island.
Yeah, so min-max that island. Like just build a wall that I can't come in with artillery and nonsense.
How am I going to win the game with that?
I don't know, culture.
I don't think I can win the game with that.
What do you do? All right.
That's what I'm doing, but I don't think I don't think it has a chance of winning.
Well, then build a navy and attack
How can
me.
I build a navy if you can just plant your navy outside my 1 city that can build navy and kill every boat as soon as I
put
build
a bunch
it?
of catapults or trebuchets or whatever around that city to clear out a space? Because you realize, Scott.
How can I afford all those?
Scott, you don't seem to realize how much of a coward I actually am. Like, if my boat comes near you and even an archer attacks it, I just fucking run away.
I mean,
like,
I've already
I'm not
shot
gonna
a
risk
bunch
my
of your
boat.
boats with archers, but I think that's only helping you not pay for those boats. That you have extra
On
boats
the Ottomans,
you
I don't
need.
pay for those boats anyway. Also, I gifted most of those boats to a city-state that's allied with me so that they'll declare war on you when
That's
I declare
another thing
war.
is I mostly need to travel to make trade routes with some cargo ships, right? I have a maximum of 3 trade routes. There's only 1 city-state on my island.
Yeah, there's only 1 city-state on mine.
So I can trade with 1, but you can build cargo boats and they won't get...
And I can trade with 2 and then I'm done.
I'm just saying is... If I could try to get some boats
Scott,
out there,
you gotta
I could
use
trade.
the internal routes, the internal caravans.
Yeah, with what? Myself?
Yeah.
All it does is move food from 1 city to
No,
another.
it creates food in production, Scott. It doesn't move it.
See, this is why I don't know stuff.
If you do an internal route, it's not like -7 production here, +7 there. It's there just gets +7. So if you have a crappy little city, you can point like 3 caravans at it and make it a production powerhouse. How do you think people finish wonders so quick?
I did because they know stuff like that
And
I don't know.
If you ideology and go communism, right? You can do stuff to make those internal routes just be like twice as effective. You can just make hammers out of nothing.
How do I not know this?
I don't know how you don't know these things.
It's too much shit in this game.
But yeah, so
what other game has a civilopedia, and it can't even have an encyclopedia? It has to have its own pedia.
Europa Universalis.
Yeah, that's even worse.
I'm not playing that.
Can't even play that.
That's over the line.
See, I can only play Netrunner, which has so many fucking cards, because I started when there were very few cards, and I learned the cards one at a time. Right?
But I guess I'll put it this way.
In Civ, I'm starting when there's like 3 expansions and I gotta learn everything at once.
You just gotta play single player and kind of learn these things. Like try to win.
I don't have time for that shit.
All right. But at least one thing I found, because I'm in 3 Civ 5 games right now, just on GMR, and one of them I'm not doing great because these guys are like super pro. But Civ 5 is real fun, even when you're not winning, because it's still Civ, except unlike against the AI, the diplomacy with the real humans actually matters a lot. And if there is a war, it's just awesome advanced wars.
The problem is that it isn't way fun when you're losing, because the way I lose is I
slowly peter out.
No, is I don't have a lot of military units, and a giant army of 1 million guys shows up, and I'm like, not only how do they build that so fast, but how are they paying for it? And then it destroys me in like a few turns.
You had the same complaint in Advanced Wars. I remember one time we were doing a pretty big map, and I saw you had this one like motorcycle guy, and he comes over, and he gets to these cities in the middle of the map that I had long ago like completely captured. And I think you accused me of cheating because you couldn't believe I'd gotten people there.
The same thing has been happening to me in games where you build stuff forever, right? When I played Red Alert back in the day, it's like I sent like a group of like grenade guys to go scout out the enemy base.
And just tanks.
There's like 30 tanks, and meanwhile my war factory is like under construction. I'm like, how the fuck did you build that so fast? I don't understand like what people are doing. It's like, because like I'm like build archer. All right, it will take 7 turns. And then I look over by you and you get 7 archers, and I'm like, there haven't been 49 turns in this game. So how the fuck did you do that?
I'm going to let you in on a tiny secret.
Everyone cheats but me. Yes, I know.
But I'm having a lot of fun with Civ 5 right now, and this is like my game between this and Counter-Strike in the last month or 2, and I might start up a 4th or 5th Civ 5 game.
Do whatever you want to do.
Yeah. So you got any gaming news?
I do. So that Nintendo's iOS mobile game, the Miitomo thing that everyone, it's going to be a Me-related candy box on your phone, pretty much. It's going to be out for reals in North America on Thursday. And it's
candy box!
And it's Tuesday right now, so everybody, get your candy ready and your insulin ready, because it's box time.
See, I actually did follow through with my threat to not play the 3DS candy box anymore. I'm done. I just don't even bother.
Only doing the puzzle piece one, and I have every puzzle piece.
Except there'll always be more puzzles.
They've been coming out much less frequently.
I refuse to. I'm just done with that. Also, I don't even bring my 3DS anywhere because literally no one will play Smash Brothers or Mario Kart with me, so it's kind of pointless.
I will play a different game with you.
What game? Advance Wars?
Candy box.
It is interesting that Nintendo's finally taking these tiny baby steps into mobile, but I feel like the long run will be they'll just be a software company on mobile and have some sort of console that maybe also interacts with mobile.
The NX is going to be real. I feel it.
Yeah.
The NX is going to be super legit.
But what form will it take? Will because one,
not the form of those amazing fakes. Bravo, amazing fake people. Great job. You did the best fake.
I love how when the
best,
guy,
I've seen every fake there is to see. I've been around as longer than the internet, and that is the best fake I ever did see.
The beautiful thing is
congratulations.
When the person posted their here's how I
deserve
faked it.
If there was a internet awards, you would get like the achievement, like the best achievement of the year award or something.
But when they posted the here's how I did it, if I done it, there were replies and comment and discussions about that post claiming that the I faked it post was fake and that's covering up the fact that it's real, which is amazing.
That's how good that fake was.
Yeah.
Also, it was so believable because the patent wasn't fake, right?
Yep, which is smart. You got to go find a patent like that and base your fake on the patent.
Now, you know what? It also, it's not 100. You know what? Those people were saying, oh, it's a cover-up. I'll give them like a tiny % chance that it actually wasn't fake and they were trying to cover up by saying it's fake.
The ultimate beauty would be if
Nintendo
it was a fake,
did it to get like to test the waters, right?
Yeah. Or what if it was a fake, but that is actually what the real thing is going to look like mostly?
So it could be.
That could happen.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if there's a couple of smart choices that could be made, There's a lot of smart people in the world, so odds are a few smart people would come up with the same solution to a problem. In other news, this is actually kind of a big deal. So PAX East, I love PAX, but it is the worst of the PAXs. Now, that's like saying this is the worst of the foie gras. This is the worst of the King's Peas.
This is the least tasty filet mignon.
Yeah, but PAX East is the hardest to go to in terms of like local logistics because there's like
there's no place to eat.
There's like
it's the
three hotels within walking distance that are comfortable. The rest
Yeah.
are super far away.
It's more expensive to go there, even though we live in New York, very close to PAX East, than it is to go to PAX South, which is very far away.
Yep. And one of the big problems is
PAX Australia is cheaper than PAX East if you live in Australia, and PAX Prime is cheaper than PAX East if you live near PAX Prime.
Yep.
West, they changed the name.
Which is interesting.
Yep.
We'll wait for PAX North. There's also rumors of all those tabletop events they might start, like mini
Well, they
PAXs.
sent out a survey that was like, how would you like if we had PAX branded tabletop events that were much smaller than PAX in random places? And I was like, I will make it my job to run those and travel around the country doing that.
So what's with PAX Prime and PAX East, but not so much with PAX South, and actually not at all really, at least in the ones I went to with PAX Aus. A lot of people just show up Thursday morning and just game in the hotel lobbies like all day and all night.
That's every PAX ever.
PAX South, there was not nearly as much, but
I think we just weren't going to the hotels that had it.
Well, the thing is, the hotels were a lot more spread out. In PAX Prime, the Sheraton is the hotel.
Mm-hmm.
Like people, if you can get into the Sheraton.
Right, but even we go to PAX Prime, even if we're not staying in the Sheraton, we go in the Sheraton.
Exactly.
Right?
Everyone
At
goes
PAX
to the
South,
Sheraton.
I think that Marriott across the street from the convention center is the hotel, and we've never even walked inside of it.
I walked in there.
I never went in it.
Yeah, the problem with that hotel is that there's not that much table space.
I haven't been in it.
There's not a lot of room in there. But PAX Prime, the Sheraton, like it's a whole convention just going on in that lobby.
Well, part of the convention is in the Sheraton. The real convention is in there.
Yep.
There's panel rooms in there.
And if you go to PAX East, the Westin lobby is enormous, and there's 1 million people in there playing games, like so crowded that
it even has that little balcony mezzanine area with extra big round tables that are used for gaming.
But it's so crowded, like I avoid that place like the plague for the last few years. So it's always been a problem because there's nowhere for everyone to game on Thursday except there.
Mm-hmm.
Like you go over to the Seaport Hotel, despite having a ton of space, there's like no one playing games.
Well, it's also a lot of these hotel lobbies aren't convenient for gaming. Hotel lobby tables are usually tiny, weird circle tables or low coffee tables for newspapers and shit.
But there's multiple factors.
Yeah, no one has gaming tables set up in there, right? I mean, I'm pretty sure like random poker games would break out when it's not a nerd convention.
But there's also the sort of like consensus critical mass where you need you have to have a certain critical mass of nerds who want to play games, and then the hotel will be rocking. If you're below that, it's just really sad unless you have your own small group of friends to just play games with.
We have that.
And but then it's just it's like you're in your hotel room except it's slightly bigger.
Mm-hmm.
So PAX East, for the first time ever, is solving this problem.
Yep.
In the Westin.
The hotel that everyone wants to stay in, but
that
can't.
no attendees are staying in, as far as I can tell. It's all exhibitors.
Yeah.
I mean, we could not even get into the stupid Westin.
No, because we're so special.
Well, enforcers and panelists and all the early access gave us no access to that stupid hotel. We could have stayed in the Westin if there was one of us, and we were only staying Friday and Saturday.
Okay.
So there's a big event space, 21,000 square feet, in the basement of that hotel that PAX never used. Like, no one uses it.
I didn't I thought I was imagining this space because I've been down the stairs in the Westin to this
there's
area.
a hallway there.
We played a lot of Wizard down there in the restaurant part, but there's another like room down there and stuff. And I thought that was the space, but Rim says
Scott, the restaurant part is like up and around to the right.
There's a space down the stairs, remember?
Yeah, it's just a wide hallway.
No, because there were like lights that were shining on the wall with like graphics and stuff down there.
Yeah, that's just a long hallway.
Anyway, the stuff down there.
That's where we played Mafia that one day.
I'm just saying is apparently this space is not a space that is in my brain.
Yeah,
Rim says it's some other space I haven't been to.
It's a ballroom. It's an expo hall. It's 21,000 square feet. And for whatever reason, the hotel said, hey, PAX people, you could just use it. We're not even going to charge you. And we're going to set a bunch of tables.
Are you sure they're not charging anyone for this?
It appears that they're not charging anyone for this because there's an interesting quote. 0 gaming will be allowed in the actual hotel lobby anywhere. You will be forced to go to this gaming area. The hotel is trying to get the thousands of PAX people who crowd their lobby every year out of their hair.
But I mean, usually, like other hotels, for example, Sheraton at PAX West, right? It's like, if that bothers them, they haven't done anything about it. I don't understand why the hotel cares. Like, why is the hotel being nice and helping us out? It's sort of like, you're helping us out, huh?
Well, as far as I can tell, the mezzanine, which is in that area, doing this? Some other convention has that space rented out on Thursday.
That's dumb of them.
And those people, there might have been trouble because that space that they've rented out last year was full of probably 700 or 800 PAX people, like, mashed together, sitting on the floor everywhere. So the hotel will fucking kick you out if you don't go downstairs to play games in the dungeon, but the dungeon is going to be gigantic.
It's like, it's like, we want the dungeon, but this still is making me very cautious. Like, when you go down the street and there's a guy and he's handing out some candy, and you're like,
yep.
Really? That's not poison candy. Is that what you're saying?
The ones I don't get,
lately,
no. There's all these people near my office that are just like, free massage. And I'm like, hell no. Hell no, you're not touching me, scary hobo-looking dude with a sign.
That's right. They're trying to convince you to come in for their paid massage or their Chinese...
And it's a hobo that was hired by the whatever.
Or their Chinese nonsense or their chiropractic or whatever their evil nonsense is.
So at least 350 seats with a bunch of tables, also tons of floor space. They're setting up JS Joust, and you can just game on the floor. They're trying to get a bar put down there.
I'm sure the hotel will be happy with putting a bar down there.
I'll be happy if they put a bar down there.
Free monies for them.
So this is going to be amazing, and this actually really ups the value of PAX East in relation to the other PAXs.
Sure, yeah.
Because Prime's the only other PAX
if they kept it going every night after the end of PAX, that would be even better.
If they turned it into...
Because this is a Thursday night thing. Is it going to be a Friday night thing?
I think it's just Thursday. Because
when does PAX end on Friday?
Well, because I'm pretty sure on Friday the mezzanine and everything will be available again.
Oh, okay. But the mezzanine doesn't hold nearly as much as a giant ballroom.
Thursday's the most important though, because the other news, as far as I can tell, because like Wizards of the Coast isn't.
But so is Sunday after the con ends.
Wizards of the Coast isn't exhibiting and taking up all the space that they always take up, at least in the tabletop areas.
That is correct, but we don't know if that space will be used for more tabletop or not.
I suspect there's going to be a lot more tabletop space at this PAX East than there's ever been.
Maybe. That'd be nice.
Independent of the Weston stuff.
But they could expand other areas to take that WotC space instead. We don't know.
Yeah. So I got one last news.
But I think she shouldn't, because just because WotC's not there doesn't mean there won't be an equal number of people playing Magic, and those are the tables.
True, but the only reason those Magic people are in our way is because that space is reserved for them.
Right, but I'm saying is that if WotC doesn't show up, you're still going to need all those tables to accommodate people playing Magic on their own.
But as soon as they stand up, my Carcassonne game starts there.
Sure.
One last little news, because this is kind of hilarious. Someone hacked Steam, and there was a way to use their APIs.
Steam is like a really bad thing. It's really garbage anyway.
No, but this was an interesting hack. They basically were able to list a game in Steam that you could buy that literally no one at Valve knew about or had looked at.
Whoa, that's pretty crazy.
So it was a security researcher who did it, and he did it as a joke. He was going to have the game appear on April Fool's Day, and the game is called Watch Paint Dry. And it's basically just paint drying.
Tell you, Valve, hire me. I'm going to redo all of Steam so like when you click on your inventory, it'll load instantly and won't be like...
Nah.
Right?
Why would I even want to ever click on my inventory?
I'm just saying is that like there's so much shit in Steam. Because Steam is basically just a website, right? Which is what I can make. And it's really awful, right? The Steam app is mostly just a browser with this website in it. And the website's real bad, and it's real slow, and I think it's all Microsoft-based, actually, on the back end. I could just rewrite that whole fucking thing, especially with a team of great Valve developers. Well, maybe their web developers aren't so great, but, I get some other ones. Redo that whole thing, and it would be amazing. And I'm sure that the people who are, game developers and publishers putting their games on Steam have to deal with a lot of web interfaces and stuff that really suck. That I could also improve.
Well, I mean, our friend Conrad has complained every time he's ever had to interact with Steam on the back end, so...
Yep. Valve is just bad at the back end things. Like it all started.
Are they bad at it because they do a better job than anyone else,
or they just don't care, right? Who
does a good job on this stuff?
No one else is doing this stuff.
No, I'm saying who does a good job on this sort of like web front end, back end type stuff anywhere?
WordPress.
All right, we got one.
Any sort of thing that you set up, like GitHub or
they're okay.
Amazon Web Services is much better than Steam.
The Amazon console is really, of course,
it's
that's more bad UX.
I'm just saying it's better than Steam.
Yeah,
it's better than Steam. It works, right? It's like it's not some.
It does work. Of course, I haven't had problems with Steam in a while.
I'm just saying it's it's not like some weird slow loading pages and shit. Right? It's way better than Steam.
Things of the day.
What was my thing?
Scott found this independent of me. He messaged it to me like, "Holy crap!" But I'd already like flagged it as my thing of the day.
I was just using it to sort of make some trash talk. That's definitely not going to actually happen because, as we know already, I suck at Civilization. But I was like, it's about a Bronze Age battle, and Rim in the game, 2-player game we're playing. Rim is Egypt, and I'm China. So I'm like, see that skull with the spear in it? That's going to be Ramses real soon.
Yep.
In his crystal ball, this is what he sees. Ooh.
Are you threatening me? So
I'm just being silly threatening
I'm going to go at the beginning of this. In 1996, an amateur archaeologist found a single upper arm bone sticking out of a riverbank.
All right.
Blah, blah, blah. A flint arrowhead was firmly embedded in one end of the bone. It is a really good picture.
So that tells you basically immediately, this isn't some recent murder that I'm worried about. This is an old-ass bone.
Or maybe it was someone in like 1910 was like, you know what? Flint arrowheads. And they thought, all right, murder or something, maybe a small battle, we'll figure it out. But they found evidence of a massive organized battle from at least 3,000 years ago.
So so they found this in 1910, so 3,000 years ago.
No, they found this in 1996. I was saying it was a 100-year-old murder.
Oh, so 1996 minus 3,000 is
1250 BC. BCE.
Way old.
Yep.
Mad old. Like not medieval times. Sick old. Bronze Age.
This is interesting.
Bronze.
Because there is literally no recorded evidence, no circumstantial evidence, no references, nothing indicating that humanity knew anything about a battle, significant civilizations, anything in that region, even remotely close to that era. Mm-hmm. And at first they thought, well, maybe there was a bunch of battles here over a long period of time.
Were they sure it was people? They sure it was like a Neanderthal war?
It's definitely people.
It wasn't a monkey war?
Definitely people.
Elephant war?
They found a lot of well-constructed bronze weapons, which in that era...
Alien war?
The bronze weapons in this time period would have been like the cream of the crop, like experimental weapons, effectively. Mm-hmm. And it was definitely armed conflict. Organized
there's arrowheads stuck in bones. That's a pretty sick arrowhead if you can get it all the way down to the bone.
But there's a big difference between armed conflict, like it could be a bunch of farmers fighting over whatever, and organized armies armed conflict.
It's not a plowshare that was stuck in the dude's head. It was an arrowhead.
Yep. One side definitely won because they found that basically all the bodies that would have been accessible were looted, and all the ones that were buried deep in water had a whole bunch of jewelry and stuff on them. And this article is just really fascinating because as much as we think we know about history, occasionally we find things like this that kind of blow up our whole perception of the history of the world.
Also, the photos here are sick, like the dude's skull with the spear stuck in it.
Yeah. I do not ever want a flint arrowhead to be embedded that deeply into my arm bone.
Yeah, listen, guys. Everyone who's currently doing some like Civil War reenacting, I'm sure in Europe, I hope they do some Bronze Age battle reenacting.
Ooh.
And then we can find out who the people in Europe are who are the types
so this
that
gets
would reenact.
Even crazier. They look at this thing and they're like, well, maybe there's a bunch of conflicts over a long period of time, but based on the evidence at the site, no, it was one gigantic battle. And then in 2013, they found a 120-meter-long bridge used to be there. So this was a giant battle over a gigantic bridge from a time and a place where we really didn't think there were organized people.
And we didn't think people knew how to make a bridge.
Let alone just, there's so much going on in this article. This is
Are we sure this is real and not one of those people making a fake discovery to be famous with bullshit?
No, this
because
seems pretty
there's a
legit.
lot of fraud in archaeology, right?
Yep, that has happened. Here, quote, standardized metal weaponry and the remains of horses, which were found intermingled with the human bones at one spot, suggest there are at least some combatants that were well-equipped, well-trained. Quote, these weren't farmer soldiers who went out every few years for a brawl. These are professional fighters. So I'm really curious to see what we can figure out from this as they start to continue to study this site. And it kind of raises interesting questions about how old the civilizations in Europe really are. Because,
sick old.
Well, the guns, germs, and steel thing, the idea that the animals in Europe and the climate just happened to be more usable by humans, which gave Europe a head start. The counter theory to that is that humans were just in Europe a lot longer than we thought and made it that way.
Well, sorry, guns, germs, and steel. Evidence is not helping you out.
Yep. So, yeah, this is really cool stuff.
Yeah, it's like, oh, why was Europe better? I don't know. They built bridges while everyone else was still like, cave people.
Yeah. Why did so much military force converge in a narrow river valley in northern Germany?
There was a bridge there.
Yeah, this is a period of significant upheaval in the Mediterranean to the Baltic. In Greece, the Mycenaean civilization was collapsing around the time of the battle. Mycenaeans, man.
That's my people.
Yeah, in Egypt, pharaohs boasted about having defeated the sea people, so it's during all those times.
Cyclopeans.
Yeah. Unknown horrors of the deep. So you got a thing?
Of
the day?
Yeah, I do have a thing. So this is sort of like a mainstream thing of the day. It was all over like the trash news in, basically the New York Post of the UK.
It's like basic story.
Yeah, but I think this is something not a lot of nerds have seen because it was all over the mainstream internet, and it's really cool even if you don't care about sports.
I had not seen this.
Yeah, here is a dude. He's a 50-year-old fisherman, which is pretty cool, fisherman.
That's a good thing to be.
If you're like profession as fisherman, that's cool. But he's sort of fat and blobby, but he's not so fat and blobby he can't get around. He's just fat and blobby.
Like, he can really get around.
And he can fucking get around with the soccer ball, let me tell you what. Like, whoa, like, the skills are so high with this dude. It's ridiculous. It's like, it's sort of like when you see like that, people are always shocked to see like an ugly person sing because usually in the music industry, they only let pretty people sing, right?
Yep.
This is like that. It's like usually you only see fit people doing athletics because, you think, only fit people can do it. It's like, this dude's probably mad fit underneath all that blubber.
Yeah.
But he's got the mad coordination and skills, and it's awesome to watch him. And I hope maybe he could, get fit, and then he could be a soccer player. Because he obviously likes playing soccer, so maybe he could be a soccer player and a fisherman.
Also, there was that TED Talk a while ago and a bunch of research backing it, showing that, it's better to be skinnier. It's better to not be obese. If you can, just don't be fat. But if you're already fat, while it's really, really difficult to unfat, and for some people it might be impossible, if you're fit, if you're physically fit and you exercise, even if you remain fat, you're 95% as healthy as someone who's that fit and skinny. You're doing pretty well if you can move around. This guy's probably doing all right.
I mean, there's you can always tell, right? When you see really large, obese type people, the ones that are a ton of muscle and that just happens to have fat around it, like the bouncer at the nightclub, where it's like you ain't fucking with that guy, right? And then the person who's in the Rover whatever thing and can't even walk, right? Well, even though they might weigh the same.
Well, NFL, the fat guy in the NFL, he would kill either one of us if he was in the same room and mad at us.
Yeah, I think BJ Raji just retired, but it's like, yeah, you ain't fucking with BJ. BJ, what's up?
In the meta moment, we were just at Anime Boston. Stay tuned. I'll try to get videos up soon. For those of you who care about Kineticon, I finally can open panel submissions. The secret is the form's already open, but I haven't tested it yet, so I'm going to futz around with it, and I'm going to announce stuff. But go ahead and submit now if you want, if you're listening to Geek Nights. You know the drill. Next weekend, this coming week, so this weekend, actually, I will be without Scott. Well, I'll have a different Scott at ZenkaiCon. On Saturday, I'm doing How to Run an Anime Club, Analyzing Anime, Utena, and Practical Game Theory.
He's not telling you is that this convention is in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. Don't fucking go there. It's
Unless
a bad
you
place.
live, only go to ZenkaiCon if you live within a couple hours drive.
If you live mad close, you can go on Saturday only, eat some Amish food, go to the con for a bit, and then get the hell out before Sunday when they don't sell any Amish food because they're all Jesus-like.
Yeah, it's this is a town where we went to a bar and I wanted to order beer and I asked the waitress what beers they had and they only had 3, but that's fine, small town. And she said she didn't want to say the name of the 3rd beer. And I was like, "What? Can you give me a hint?" And she was like, "It's arrogant something." And I'm like, "Oh yeah, I'll have an arrogant bastard." She physically flinched when I said the word bastard and got really uncomfortable around us for the entire evening.
Welcome to New York.
Also,
Fuck
fucking
yeah.
nothing is open on Sunday except one bar. Last year, we just, after we did our last panel, I did my last panel, those of us who were there just went to this bar and drank all day until we went home playing games.
Yeah, so don't go there. Instead, if you're in New York City, a good place to be, the best place to be, the Mocha Festival is happening. Woo!
Yes, the Mocha Fest.
It's declined in recent years, I can't lie, but it's still worth a day of your time.
Yeah, there's awesome stuff there. And Emily
bought a table, so you can give her money if you want.
Emily's going to be selling a whole bunch of stuff at her table.
And she'll also be stuck in one place most of the time, so she can't run away from you if you're that guy.
I see her shaking her head right now. But yeah, if you want to read her book or buy her book or see a bunch of art or stuff, she'll have a bunch of her friend artists' things and she'll have her own stuff. And this is the first Mocha Fest in a long time that I'm missing because Scott and I can't both bail on ZenkaiCon.
Why not?
Professionals. We don't bail on a con.
I mean, you should have bailed earlier. You could have bailed earlier. You just waited too long. Now you're stuck.
Remember, 1, ZenkaiCon's pretty fun. And 2, that's an audience that we don't reach. Like, when I presented ZenkaiCon...
Listen, I'm not going to reach someone who's going to wince when I say, fuck you.
But a lot of the kids who go to the con are coming from Philly anyway. But I'm telling you, the kids at this con, we'll get like 100 people in the room.
If you live in Philly, you can go fuck yourself.
I remember last year, one of the panels, I filled the room. No one in the room knew who I was or knew about GeekNights or anything. Half of them didn't know what podcasts were. And
because they're from fucking Philly. I don't need these people. Why I want to go anywhere near them?
Yo, I gotta reach out. Gotta evangelize the geekery.
No.
Why not? Don't you? I thought that was the mission of GeekNights, to expand horizons.
Philadelphia people, they just need a little scorched earth policy down there.
The book, I don't know why you hate Philly so much. Philly I would rather live in than most other cities in the U.S.
I mean, I guess compared to, say, like... Jacksonville, Florida or something.
I said cities. There's a lot of cities that you don't want to live in. Philly at least is cosplaying a city. So right after ZenkaiCon, like a few weeks, PAX East, as we said.
The real convention.
Well, we'll be there on Sunday doing Atari game design. And yeah, then other conventions coming up after that. The next book club book is going to be Margaret Atwood, Oryx and Crake. And I think I'm going to stop reading The Wheel of Time after I finish the 11th one, and then I'm going to start reading that.
All right, I already got a copy, so I'm good.
Tell me when you started.
I also I found a book club. You stole my book club book, so I found another one that's maybe the most GeekNights book I've ever seen that isn't Prince of Nothing.
How? Okay, other than Prince of Nothing. We'll see. I'm vaguely trusting. So at PAX South, we needed a short game to play.
I played this game at Kineticon last year.
Yeah, and I did not because I was doing work. So you want to introduce the game then?
Yeah, okay. So it's a really tiny game. It's published by Mayfair, who I guess used to publish Settlers.
Yeah, well, it's a Wolfgang Kramer game. So.
Yeah, and it's a little tiny card game, and it's called Six Nimmt. And there's actually a whole lot going on in this tiny card game, and most of the things I have to say about it are positive.
Yeah, there are a lot of little games like this, like No Thanks, like all those sort of like, hey, it's real easy to teach. Just start playing it. You'll have some fun. But usually those games do not hold people's attention. Like if I bust out No Thanks, people really like it once, but no one wants to play it again right then and there.
Yeah, Six Nimmt you can play quite a few times.
I mean, I've taught this to people who were drinking and had been drinking and were yelling and socializing and not paying attention too much. And then they got really into the game.
Well, the fun part of the game, right? So you know nimmt. Nimmt is the game that Rim likes, where you have sticks, and on your turn you pick up sticks, and whoever picks up the last stick loses. So it's got that unstable, stable state combinatorial game theory going on, right?
Yep.
6 nimmt is basically the same game. That's why it's called nimmt, right? It's just more advanced. There's a deck of cards numbered from 1 to 104, and there's 4 rows. And on your turn, on everyone's simultaneously turn,
2 to 10 players.
Yeah, that's great. So many players. You take a card from your hand of random cards. Everyone has the same size hand, and put it face down, and then everyone simultaneously reveals. Starting with the lowest card, the cards are added to the appropriate row. The appropriate row being the row in which there is the rightmost card is lower than the card the person has played, and then amongst those rows, which of the cards is the highest. So if I play a 30 and one of the rows is a 29 in its rightmost spot, my 30 is going there, right? If I play a 74 and there's a row with a 94, a 63, and a 52, it's going in the row with the 63 because that's the highest number that's lower than my 70, whatever I just said. So, and so you just keep everyone simultaneously reveals and plays cards out there. Pretty simple. That's the whole rules of how to play the game. But it's 6 nimmt. If you play the 6th card in a row, meaning there are already 5 cards in a row, and your card gets forced into that row,
you take all those cards.
You take all the 5 cards that are already there, and your 6th card replaces that row and is now starting a new row. Now, when you take those cards, all the cards have little pictures of bulls on them. Some cards have more bullshit than others. Whoever has the least bullshit wins. So you don't want to play the 6th card in a row. Also, the only other rule, if you play a card and the number on that card is lower than the rightmost cards of every row of all 4 rows, you pick a row to take. It could be a tiny row with only like 1 card in it, which would be awesome.
There might not be a tiny row.
And then your card makes a new row that is lower than all the other rows. And then everyone else's card, comes out according to the rules.
And then it's basically hearts rules. You keep playing until someone hits 66, because 6 is a number in this game.
Mm-hmm.
And then whoever's the lowest score wins. If there's a tie, joint victory. It's a whole game.
Right. So here's what makes the game really interesting, right?
It's got some gops going on. Other than that, not all the cards are out.
Mm-hmm.
So you had nothing changed. You've got 10 cards. You've got to play all 10. Everyone's got to play 10 cards.
It's just which order you're going to play them in, right? So you're looking at the board state, and there's different moves you can try. For example, if there's not a lot of cards in the rows, maybe you could just try to get rid of your low cards and take some low points and then hope later in the round you'll be safe and other people end up taking the big cards.
But if you have only high cards, the board could get arranged, the table could get arranged in such a way that all the high cards you have are very likely to take some old terrible row that's full of bulls.
Right. Also, let's say you got the 104 in your hand, the highest card in the game. You could try to play it right away, and that would basically go in the final row. So you say the final row has a 54 in it. You could put the 104 right next to it, and now anything less than 104 is going in row 3.
But let's say and
nothing new is going in row 4 at all because nothing's higher than 104. And now someone puts a 90-something in row 3, and now every new card is going in rows 1 and 2, and suddenly the game gets really hairy until somebody plays a super low card and intentionally takes row 3 and 4. And you can create this lockdown effect, right?
Yep.
So you have all these different ways you can play. You could intentionally try to take those rows to unlock the game, and maybe you'll get less points now in order to get even, to lower the total points you would have taken if you didn't open the game up. Or maybe you can just keep holding out, hoping that someone else bites the bullet and ends up taking the nimmt, and then you can clear your hand and get 0 points. And woo!
And think about that. You play that strategy of I play the high number to lock something down. So I play the 104. What if all the other players play 55, 58, 60, and then I just take the row and I'm completely screwed?
Sometimes there'd be only a little bit of space between rows, and you have the card that fits there, and there'll be a 94 and a row. And the next row has 100 in it. So the only cards that can go in that third row would be 95, 96, 97, 98, 99. So only 5 or 6 cards, right? And there's 4 cards in the row. Someone else is I'll play my 97, and then it'll go right there in that row, and there's no way I'm taking that row because no one's going to play any, right? And someone else is going to have to take that row, and somebody sneaks in with one of the 2 cards that could have fucked you, and now you take that row. It's
What is fascinating is how drastically different the game is with every number of players.
Oh, huge.
The 3-player game and the 4-player game.
Tremendous differences.
Might as well be different games.
Oh, yeah.
I think
when you play, once you get to 6 players, that makes the biggest gap because suddenly you can just boom on. Oh, actually, with 5 players, because every row already has a card in it, right?
Yep.
As soon as you get to 5 players, it changes drastically because if everyone plays a card for the same row, you could just play something that looked totally safe and end up taking a whole bunch of cards right away.
Yep, like in 3 and 4-player, there'll be rows where everyone is guaranteed to be able to play something safe. And as a result, the game will often get locked up pretty quick, and then it'll come down to, did the person who locked it up have cards to make the game cycle where they will every round take no points and someone else will take a bunch of points, which we saw happen reliably. There was always one person who just got wrecked in that situation.
I mean, I can't say this game has a lot of strategy, but it also has a lot of luck, right? At the beginning of the game, you deal out, 10 cards to every player?
Yep, and there's 104 cards in the deck.
So even if you play with the max of 10 players, there's 4 missing cards, right? But there is significant luck. If you could just get like all low cards, it could happen.
But
there's no reason it couldn't happen. You can get a really bad mix of cards and then that you're just screwed.
But playing multiple games and all that actually helps a lot. The fact that you keep playing games of it.
Yes, because it's not one round doesn't determine the whole thing, right? You play until someone gets 66. So even if you get screwed one round, you play enough rounds that theoretically, if you're good at the game, you're going to win because it evens out over the course, right? It's,
Yep.
So what makes the game super fun, even if you don't get to the deep strategies and everything, is just that nimmt mechanic is like an exciting hot potato kind of deal. The drama of there's this row building up with a bunch of bulls in it, and is someone gonna take it? Is somebody forced to take it because they have a bad card and they're just holding out waiting to play
Like
it?
you'll play a round where everyone's cards go out safely, and then everyone's like, oh no, because there's a bunch of full rows. And
it's like it's like when someone takes the big row, it's like the hot potato exploded on them. Like, oh!
It ends up being a really high drama game. Like people get really intense about it.
Right. What really increases the drama even more is that every card doesn't have the same number of bulls on it, right? Some cards have just way more bulls on them. So it's like you could have a row, and even only with 2 cards in it, could have more bulls than a row with like 5 cards that only have 1 bull each. And that could be like, so someone could end up like taking that, and it really sucks. Really sucks.
So I guess what I'm really amazed by even more than that is mechanically, it's a sound game, it's quick to play, but people really like it, even though when you first show it to them, they see these 140. Like you tell someone,
it looks.
This game has cards numbered between 1 and 104. Most people say, "Fuck that."
And the only thing that's fun appearance-wise and aesthetically is like the art is a little bit fun, right? And it's but it's just like outlines of bullheads. It's like there's not much going on there. It's like other games have like cute graphics or animals or kind of characters. It's just bullheads and numbers.
You kind of got to rope people in and be like, "Hey, I'll teach you the game," and you can teach it so fast that
I just taught it to you. Usually when we teach board games, we'll give sort of an explanation on this show, but not go into every detail. I literally told you 100% of the rules in this game.
But what makes the game great, the reason you can play it with people, even if they're distracted, even if they're drunk,
all you do is play a card. There's no other weird decisions to make. And then everything after the playing of the card is not decisions, but just execution.
Yes.
If one person can do the execution, and then it just is drunk enough, is least sober enough to do the execution.
So think about that. All you have to do is pick a card from your hand, thinking, and once everyone's ready, it's simultaneous reveal, and then there's no more thinking. It's just play out what happens, play out the drama.
And you do it 10 times, game over.
Yep. Now with 10 players, you've dealt out 100 cards.
The 4 left are the ones that start the rows.
So you know that. Oh, you pretty much know that every card's out there.
Mm-hmm.
So then it becomes multiplayer GOPS effectively.
Yeah, because you'll see there's a 94 and a 97. I could try for the 96, but I know the 95 exists and is in someone's hand because it hasn't been played yet.
Yep, so the only thing...
But counting cards becomes a big deal because once a row is taken, you got to remember what was in there.
Yeah, but at least unlike GOPS, one person might have the 96 and the 97 and the 98. Like, you don't know. It's not like everyone has the same hand.
That's entirely possible,
yeah.
Yes.
Because the thing about GOPS to make it 100% pure is that everyone has the exact same hand as well.
Mm-hmm.
But if you need to get... this replaces no thanks for me as the, hey guys, want to play a quick game at a con? Like, let's just go, play a game. Spot it or this. They're like perfect for this purpose.
Yeah. Also, you can get this game way cheap. I remember at PAX they had it at the Mayfair booth, like stacks of it, and it was like mad discount.
I think I paid like $4 for my copy.
Yeah, they're trying to get rid of these. You can probably get 2 of these and give them as gift. Great gift for someone who would play some games or even the non-gamer type.
Yeah,
and you can so cheap.
This has been Geek Nights with Rim and Scott. Special thanks to DJ Pretzel for the opening music, Kat Lee for web design, and Brando K for the logos.
Be sure to visit our website at frontrowcrew.com for show notes, discussion, news, and more.
Remember, Geek Nights is not 1, but 4 different shows. Sci-Tech Mondays, Gaming Tuesdays, Anime Comic Wednesdays, and Indiscriminate Thursdays.
Geek Nights is distributed under a Creative Commons Attribution 3.0 license. Geek Nights is recorded live with no studio and no audience. But unlike those other late shows, it's actually recorded at night.
And the Patreon patrons for this episode of Geek Nights, in order of the amount of money they give us, if they give us at least $5, are Rebecca Dunn, Nicholas Brandow, Alan Joyce, Heidi McNichol, Amanda Duchette, James David White, Christian, thanks for consistently pronouncing it correctly, Kuntz, Jess, MyStady.com, Mechanical Mind, William Eisenrose, Jeremy Miner, How Much Mud Could a Mud Kip Kip If Mud Kip Could Kip Mud, Tyler Eller, Scott John Harrison, Sean Yeager, Clinton Walton, Ren from New Zealand, Robert Lee, Ryan Perrin, Drew Openlander, Rare Lavelle, Brian Cedroni, Rochelle Montanona, Finn Eric Silverhut, Can't Melt Steel Beams, I'll never get tired of that, Kinetic Man, Aaron Cerise, Chris Midkiff, Chris Knox, Flame Darkfire, Sam Cordery, Daniel Redmond, Krista Dodd, Sean Klein, Chris Reimer, and Thomas Hahn. So, in the 2-player game of Civ, because I know Scott won't listen to this, that we're playing right now, the one on the bus, he feels like he's doing okay. He does not understand the extent of the army that I have hanging out on this island that I won't let him see because he only has 1 trireme, and I just attack him anytime he comes anywhere near it. I'm just massing troops over there, and when we start the game on the way to PAX, I just have to pick the moment when I'm going to go over the sea and just destroy him. So in the game we're playing now, I can see a hut. I was lying. I can definitely see a hut. I want him to feel like he's getting ahead. I want him to feel like he's really got things going on. And I'm going to try to hide the army that I'm going to build, like in a corner of the continent where he's not going to look, like up north. And I'm pretty confident that I can wait for a hilariously opportune moment, and suddenly the forces come over the hill. Stay tuned for all our stuff. We did record Judge Anime by its cover at Anime Boston. We also did record How to Run an Anime Club and Role-Playing Anime. So I might make those available, at least to you patrons, even if they're not necessarily good enough quality to put on the general Geek Nights public whatever. And now I leave you with something kind of weird and dumb.
Plumber's log number 224. Rapland isn't rapping anymore. Cooper took their king and the money too. We're here to figure out what to do.
I'll bet Cooper's gonna get that gold.
But how's he making them do what they're told?
I'm rapping, Cooper. Do what I say. Bring me your gold coins right away. Yo, King James, you're a dweeb. I run Rapland. I'm never gonna leave.
Who be a chump, you ugly fang face? My flamboy's gonna free me from this place.
Flamboy, smap boy, hey, hey, hey.